Welcome to Impact Duty. I'm your host, Manisha Dadlani Kripalani, bringing you empowering stories of friends and people I admire. Their voices have given me joy and the momentum to share their stories with you. Komal Bagrodia is a fashion and lifestyle influencer. Born and brought up in the small city of Bhilwara, Rajasthan, she followed her dreams and studied in Mumbai and London. She loves to shop and documents her shopping adventures on Instagram, promoting and highlighting small businesses, boutiques, and vendors. As she embarks on her own wedding journey, she shares her bride-to-be moments, advice, and knowledge. Komal Bagrodia, welcome to Impact Duty. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here too.
Yeah. And Komal, I've been following your shopping journey and journeys. But before we get into the interview, if you'd like to tell the listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm born and brought up in a small city of Rajasthan. And then I was studying in Bombay and I've studied in London and I've studied fashion. So I'm someone whose roots are very traditional and I've explored a lot of places in the world. So I think my fashion aesthetics are a mix of both different cultures. And that's what I like to talk about in my blog. And that's how my journey of blog started. And also I'm a shopaholic, and then I think it just eventually became a profession where I was actually shopping for work. So that's what I do. I shop, I make shopping guides for my audience, and people love to know that. And now that I'm getting married in February, which is like 2 months to go from now, I'm trying to incorporate that kind of content, in my blog where I can tell people how to go about shopping, or also like what am I doing basically, when I'm the bride to be. So yeah,
Wonderful.
that's what's happening.
Komal, that sounds wonderful. So, like I said, I've been following your shopping journey, not just during this wedding time, but from a while ago. Let's start with your wedding story. So,
Okay.
is it a typical wedding story? Is it an arranged marriage? Is it a love marriage? Tell us a little bit more, right up to the proposal.
Okay, sure. I don't know what do you mean by typical, because I think Indian typical is very different than the other typical weddings. But
Right.
in a way, mine is a very typical Bollywood setting, because I met this guy in a wedding, my friend's wedding. He was the groom's friend, I was the bride's friend, and we met during the Sangeet, and we were dancing and we were chatting, and then that's how the love story started. And then,
Lovely.
my friends played Cupid, and then it eventually became to a point when we told our parents, and then it's a love come arranged sort of a setting.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, we were traveling to America, and that's where he proposed. And yeah, and now we're getting married.
Did you expect the proposal? Did you know he was
Yeah.
gonna? Yeah,
Propose.
go
I
ahead.
think in India, we already had a roka before we went to America, right? So I think in India, the official engagement happens before the proposal happens. So, though I wasn't expecting it from him to do, because he's not that kind of person who's very expressive or who's very romantic or who'll pull these kind of gestures. So I was definitely surprised, because I thought I will be that person to do that, but he did it
Right.
before I. So,
Wow,
but
excellent.
I wasn't expecting it for sure.
All right. And how did he? Did he get down on one knee and do it the
I
whole?
Yeah, so there was a beautiful terrace in New Jersey where he decorated the whole of the thing, and then he invited my sister lives in America, so she was there, his family was there, his friends were there, and there was a champagne, and there was a ring, and there were my favorite flowers, sunflowers, and there were so many people over there, and then we just walked in, and then he went down on his knee. And
Oh,
I think I don't have a lot of memory of that particular time, because I was so overwhelmed that now that I revisit those things, I'm like, oh, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. It just like got over like that, and I was just like on cloud nine.
wow. I think I did see a picture or two on your Instagram. It looked gorgeous. You had this, as you said, you had this view, and it overlooked, it was from New Jersey, I believe. Yes, and it
Yeah,
was a waterfront
yeah,
terrace. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It looked stunning.
Okay. So what
And
time
got
what time of the year was it? Because
uh
I mean it's frightfully cold at the moment. So what time of the year was it when this proposal took place?
this was in August of this year. So we had
Best
gone.
time of year.
I know. I'm not signing up to go to America in winters. I'm not a winter person at all. I can only bear Rajasthan winters. Otherwise, I'm not a winter person at all.
Oh, I'm gonna send you pictures of my garden at the moment. It's covered in snow. Okay. So it's very beautiful, but it's so cold. Yeah.
I know. I know.
All right.
I feel.
Yes, I know you were here recently as well, but I think you
Hmm.
skipped the snow part.
Yeah.
Um, so we're coming up to the wedding. We have 2 months to go. Um, how hard has it been to organize the wedding? Okay, so you've been at it for a couple of months right now, but how hard planning a wedding is crazy. And I think it's become crazier. So Komal, give us some insight. Mine was a good 20 years ago. So I'm looking at 2 decades ago. It was a different ball game altogether. How has organizing the wedding been? Tell us a bit more about food, venues. This is wedding season. How difficult has it been for you to get all that, to organize all that? Tell us a bit more about your experience.
Yeah, I think lately the business of the wedding and the shadi has become so different, like how it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. I've seen my sisters get married, and everyone,
Right,
I think that time it was all about ceremonies that you have to do. And okay, the bridal lehenga was the only big thing. But now I think the whole industry of shadi is everything has to be so different. There are people there, I mean, earlier there were only event planners, which also came, I think, a few years back. But now there are social media handlers, there are people who are doing your events, and there are people who are doing, I mean, there's so much to do. Like everything is on Instagram, and then there's so much pressure of, oh, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And I think it's
right,
just never ending, right? So that has definitely changed a lot. And having said that, I feel in India, organizing a wedding is it's hectic, it's fun, but I also feel because we have such big families, like I have a joint family, right? And there we
yes,
are like 15, 20 of us in one big house. So I feel there's certain sort of things that I do, like
right,
maybe it will be the outfits or planning a sort of events, but I always have help from my brothers and my sisters and my parents, that they are taking care of certain sort of things which I'm not involved in. So I
right.
feel it's a lot of fun because I'm only catering to one part of the wedding, and also obviously overlooking and giving my ideas, but I'm not taking full control of it. And at the same time, I feel I had a good courtship of 8 months from my roka till my
Yes.
wedding. I have 8 months. So I think the only difficult part for me was to because I am a fashion influencer and I want to wear so many outfits all the time. So for me, it was only hard to pick that one outfit that I want to wear at my wedding, because which one would it be? Like there's so many plethora of options out there, and then you are like, maybe I should do this color and that color and this style and what's trending, and should I do classic? So I think the only hard thing was to pick that one outfit that I want to wear as a bride, because that's a lifetime memory. That's something that you have imagined yourself as a kid, right? So that was the only difficult part. Coming to the venue, I think I have always been big on Rajasthan weddings, and I've always
Oh,
had weddings in Rajasthan. But I think after meeting my fiance, he also wanted to do something different. And I thought maybe it's time for me to move away from Rajasthan, because every wedding has been in Rajasthan. So we then picked Dehradun. So my
lovely.
so the wedding is this property is right in between the mountains,
Ah,
and you really can't see, I mean, at night you really can't see anything apart from Masuri lights, because everything is like pitch dark, and in the morning it's beautiful. It's between the valley sort of a thing, and it's gonna be winters in February. And then if it's snowing in Masuri, we will see like snow-capped mountains and everything. So that's where we are getting married, which wasn't easy, because I think I have an Excel sheet of properties in
wow.
Goa and Rajasthan and South India and everywhere else, right? So, and also the tricky part is I am from Rajasthan. My family is in Rajasthan, and I have been living in Bombay from 11 to 12 years. And
Right.
for my fiance, his family is in Delhi, but he lives in Vizag. which is in Andhra Pradesh. So we have
Yes.
4 different places already where we are coordinating. And then we have to pick a venue. So we were like
Uh-huh.
traveling one place or the other place doing the recce, and eventually that Dehradun was one place that we all fell in love with.
How lovely. Was it hard to then book the venue? Is that a very, very popular destination for weddings, or were you able to score your venue quite easily?
This is fairly a recent, this is a fairly a new property where we are getting married.
Hmm.
The only good part is a lot of people get married in Mussoorie and Rishikesh, but there is no airport. You have to always land in Dehradun and then go to these places. So we always wanted some place where the connectivity is better. So I think that's why Dehradun worked out the best for us. And it was so not so difficult because we had seen this property in a few weddings the right before, like the season. And I think it just worked out because I think as a Marwari family, we require a lot of rooms and a lot of
Uh-huh.
destination things in India. There are very limited number of hotels. That was a big challenge. So when I see my Excel
Hmm.
sheet and I'm seeing the properties I'm liking and I see only 100 rooms, 90 rooms, and I'm like,
Yes.
that's not gonna work out. I want more than 200 rooms.
So that brings me to my next question. So it's going to be a big fat Indian wedding. Let's leave the fat
Uh,
out. The big Indian wedding, right? How many people are you looking at?
I think we are targeting at 300, but I am sure we'll be close to 350, easily 350, 400. Like, even if the
Right.
target is 300, I'm sure it's going to end up being 350 to 400, which is,
Excellent.
I think, is a not a very big number.
It's a medium-sized for Indian weddings. It's the medium-sized
Yeah.
wedding. Um, Komal, you were telling me about wanting to wear different outfits. Tell us now. Okay, so is your partner Marwari as well?
Yes.
Okay, so it's going to be a Marwari wedding, and could you tell us a little bit more about the traditions? Like, what are the different occasions that you would have? How many days are you looking at? Like, so for example, mine, the Sindhi wedding, I'm married to a Sindhi as well. Was a 4-day wedding.
Okay.
All right. I mean, 4-day wedding, with all those
Yeah.
extra, the welcome party and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about what your schedule is like. What does
Okay.
it look like?
So I think in Marwari weddings, I think because the families are so big and there's so many traditions, what happens is the festivity starts 15 days before the day of the wedding, where we
Wow.
have all the ladies come at home and they are singing songs and we all are just like dancing in the evening. And then, everyone just comes over and then my
Uh-huh.
cousins will come and we are like, partying and doing those sort of things. That obviously starts 15 days, I'm assuming it will start. Otherwise, it doesn't look like Shadi Ka Ghar. And then I think closer to the date, there are a lot of things like we have Hald Haat ceremony, which happens at home, which is like Haat Pile Karna. Then we have Bhat ceremony, where we come to my nani's house and we give them official invitation. But then it's just not like we come to her house and we give her invitation. It's like I mean, like there will be like 50, 60 people, and we'll have dinner, and there will be dhol, and there will be dancing, and there will be some sangeet, and there will be dinner of 100 people. That sort of ceremony happens.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we always, so my wedding at the venue, that's definitely
Uh-huh.
3 days. A welcome dinner, and then mehendi, and then sangeet, and haldi, and shadi, which is like 3 days affair. But we'll still have a mehendi ceremony, which will I'll be putting mehendi before I go. So that one day
Yes.
will be
Yes.
entirely in my city. Then we have one day of a pre-wedding affair where so I live in a city where there are so many people and my parents know so many people. So we'll be hosting at
Right.
least 1,000 to 1,200 people for dinner. Just
Wow. Wow.
it's like a pre-reception before the wedding because we're not inviting everyone for the wedding at the venue. It's a destination. So that will happen and I think few puja ceremonies, and then one of the days we go before we start anything of these sort. One of the
Right.
days we go to the temple of Ganesh Ji and we give them the invitation because that's an official day that we are inviting you so that we can
Uh-huh.
start our ceremonies of the wedding. So overall, these are the things, and I think I want to plan like my outfits for each of the days. So I think in my head I already have like 15 to 20 outfits that I know I will need.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, so I was about to ask you whether you think food took up most of the organization or the outfits, but I believe, I'm sure your family's taking care of the food side and your focus is highly on clothes. Have there been bridezilla moments so far?
Yeah, I think my family is very big on the food side, and I know they always do like a great job. And
Right,
I know like I'm only responsible for my outfit because no one's gonna take care of it apart from me and my mom going crazy about it.
right.
So that's my department completely. Food, I'm sure it will be sorted out.
Wonderful. So have there been challenges with getting your outfits? So because like
So
I said, this is wedding season, so if you want to wear a particular designer, you really have to tell them well in advance. Has it been difficult getting your outfits?
I think what happened with me was I started to finalize my outfit 2 months back. So I wanted like a buffer of
Mm,
4 to 5 months because that's what they say. So I
right.
remember I went in the month of October, September-ish end to October. I went to Delhi and I started looking for my outfits and I realized everything was last season.
Okay.
And
Uh-huh.
and then I was a little confused because I'm like, if you want people to book your outfits in 3 to 4 months advance and you don't have a new collection because new collection is hitting the stores now. So how does
Right.
it happen? Because people are already wearing in December and February. So that was very challenging because I think I went to Delhi for 7 days. I did not pick any single outfit. And then I
Really?
was back. Yeah, I did not. And I felt sick. So I was 15 days, I was resting and stuff. And then I again went to the store. And that's when the fashion shows had started and they were getting a few new things in
Mm,
the stock. So I finalized my outfits. But I feel since that time to what I see now on Instagram and the brand pages, they're getting the collection now. So sometimes I think you're always like when you see the brides or when you see this collection and you're like, maybe am I confident of what I've picked? And
mm,
you're always questioning yourself. But in
yes,
that you also know that you loved what you picked, right? And you're gonna like,
totally.
yes, every bride looks nice, I think whatever no matter whatever she wears.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I somehow feel maybe if the new collection had come to the stores a month back, and if I would have taken a few other things, it would have been nice too. But I'm very happy with what I have picked as well, and I'm very confident about it too.
I'm sure, Komal, you're going to look gorgeous regardless of whatever, but I'm sure you picked, the absolute perfect outfit that resonates with you. Fantastic. Taking us back to social media, which is where I discovered you. And before the whole wedding journey began, um, how did your journey on social media begin? And how have you used it for your profession and your career as a shopping guide?
Oh, great. I think my that's a very like the answer is going to be very big because I started my so I was studying, I think 2011 or 12, I was in Bombay. I went to Bombay for my graduation and I was studying commerce. But every day I'll go to college and I'll dress up and people are like, why don't you become a blogger? And that time there was no Instagram, right? So I, with a friend of mine, we made a website, we started writing blogs, we'll put up pictures, and then the 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 fashion of influencer came in the picture, which obviously we eventually translated into the influencer. But it started in 2012 with the blog, and then I went to London. I was studying fashion. I came back. I have done multiple things. I also had my own brand of fashion and stuff. So I think over
Wow.
the years, everything changed because I spoke about fashion, I spoke about styling, I also spoke about fitness in between. So I was trying to find my niche. And I think eventually, with the reels coming in pictures, and I
Right.
realized that my voice is very strong, not only how the pictures are shown on Instagram. And I think that's when I told people about shopping, right? Like, I love to shop and where to shop from. And that became like one of the things people started following me for because they were not only interested in, okay, this is the one girl who looks nice and what she wears and she's good. I think everybody wants to know how can I do the same, right? And I
Right.
think that's when I started telling them, okay, this is where you can pick things from, and that's what they were more interested in. So yeah,
Lovely.
now that's what I do.
Lovely. Kamal, I like that you highlighted discovering your niche, because that's really why I reached out to you. You do have a unique voice. So I'm glad you recognized your niche, and may you keep growing on social media. Um, Taking us to what you believe keeps you relevant. Now, there are a lot of people doing what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you keep staying relevant in social media and other platforms? And do you think it's actually very saturated? Do you think there are too many people in the market at the moment?
If you see my page right now, I'm not doing a lot of content because I think I've just been very like how you said, the market is so saturated. I just don't want to wake up and record a reel because Instagram wants me to do that, right? I
Right.
feel I feel one of the things which I believe in doing has always been doing something that I love to do. It's not only a brand collaboration, right? So if you see my page, you'll see a lot of promotion of a city like Bhilwara, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Now I
I
want to come to Bhilwara because of you.
yeah, exactly. And I think that feeling is so wonderful for me because I think being born in a city like Bhilwara and going to a city, so I was studying in Bombay, I was studying in London, and I think a lot of times people made fun of the city like Bhilwara. And they thought like, oh, you come from a city like that. And I think I was not very happy with the fact that people didn't recognize the potential a city like Bhilwara
Right.
has, because I always felt the city has given me everything, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's a very, a lot of people will be like, oh, you wouldn't know, you're a small city girl. I'm like, no, I know everything, right? There's a reason that I'm here, and I think sky is not like sky's the limit. So
Totally.
I think I always wanted to tell people that this is where I come from, and I'm very proud of it. And that's why I promote my city so much. So if I have to stay relevant in the market, there's a lot of people in small cities do something which a girl in Bombay is doing,
Right.
right? I don't want to do that. I want to do the reverse thing, because a lot of people will know me of the unique content that I do, right? So I think
Totally.
staying relevant is like doing what you are and where you come from. So I do a lot of Marwadi content. What
Yes.
happens
Yes.
what happens in my house? What are we cooking? What are we making on the and how much quantity of food is made, because it's a joint family. And I think that's what I like to do because that's who I am and that's where I come from. So I think the uniqueness and relevance is only if you can show the authentic self that you are and something that you
Mm.
believe in. So yes, I love to wear brands, but you'll see a lot of street shopping and thrifting that I do. I love to thrift. I
Yes.
love to find. I think it's easy to go to a store and find a branded stuff. You only have to pay money and get the best. But I
Right.
think digging in and finding a treasure is something which makes me really happy. Uh,
Totally.
so I like to do that. And also, yeah, so I think that's what makes my content unique. And I am okay to take right now, I'm in the phase of planning my wedding. So I'm not taking a lot of projects. I'm only recording when and as and when I can. Because I know like this is the time I want to live and enjoy my time, spend my time with my
Mm-hmm.
family,
Mm-hmm.
and not
Mm-hmm.
just sugarcoat things and put on social media.
Wonderful, Komal. And how do you believe fashion has changed in India recently, in this recent time? Okay. How easy is it to access what you want locally? Okay. So you live in Bombay. I guess access is a lot more. Um, but how, before, at least when I was living in Bombay, it was very, you had limited brands. When I was there and when I was leaving, you only had Mango. I think Zara had just come in. You had
Okay.
limited foreign brands, and even within the local Indian brands, we had a few players that everybody went to. Even during the wedding season, there were a few players. How has fashion changed locally with Indian designers and with international players? And how easy is it to access?
Okay, so I think because of COVID, I think because of Narendra Modi ji, there was a whole wave of vocal for local, right? And
Yes.
he promoted a lot of local brands, and I think that was a very big change in the market, because if you see the biggest of the influencers of India or the smallest of the influencers, if you go on their page, they always try to show you the brands they are doing, promoting locally. I think that was a
Right,
boom for both the brands who started off and people who are promoting. They both got the
right.
awareness. Okay, I'm gonna make something in India, and someone started promoting. I wanna promote made in India. So I think that was a big change. And now whatever you see, like any sort of brands that you see, also like, so made in India is a different thing. And apart from that, you talk about the brands and the access of it, because of the Geo World Mall now, which has recently opened.
Yes.
All the brands, you talk about Valentino, you talk about Balenciaga, you talk about Jimmy Choo. I think Bombay had a few stores, like I remember LV was there, but Dior wasn't there, and so many brands were not
Hmm.
there, right?
Hmm.
Maybe a few brands were there in Delhi,
Right.
uh, yeah, but they were not in Bombay. But now I think because of the new Geo Mall, like you have all sorts of brands, right? And I think it's the right time, because if you go to any place, be it a city like Bhilwara also, if you go to a party, I think you will see people wearing YSL, Gucci, Jimmy Choo, like they're wearing Zara. It has become so common. Everyone has the access to travel. So now opening it in
Mhm.
India, I think it's a good thing, because everybody wants to be in that phase of wearing both sort of brands, right? Be it Indian or be it something which is from outside India.
Right. Wonderful. And how important is it to wear a big designer on your big day? Is it important to wear a big designer, or are there other elements that you need to take into play or into mind?
I feel whenever anyone asked me before, like my wedding was decided, like whenever we used to talk about wedding, and everybody would ask me, what would you wear on your wedding day? And I think I always told them it will always depend on who is my partner, right? What are we both want to do at our wedding day, and what sort of venue it is, and everything. So I feel it's not about wearing a big designer on the big day. I think it's up to anyone and everyone what they want to do. I
Uh-huh.
feel, yes, I do have a mix of big designers and small designers, but I was always sure that I want to do some small brands, incorporate some small brands on in my wedding festivities, that they become a brand after I wear it. That they
Hmm.
become very, I think for me, it's something that you wear and becomes a brand more important than wearing a brand. You know what I mean? The
Okay.
difference. Like, okay,
Yes.
wear some brand and it goes viral because Komal Bagrodia wore it. That is more important than for me than just wearing a brand. Obviously, I have a few big designers for wedding festivities, but I also have a few different unique players. And
Uh-huh.
I'm very excited to promote them, wear them, style it in my own unique aesthetical way. And let's see how it turns out. It's a mixed bag.
Wonderful. And my eyes are peeled to see what's coming out of your closet
Yeah.
closer to your wedding day. Um, but you did take a recent trip to Europe to shop and to have fun with your girls. Tell us
Yeah.
a little bit more. So, tell us what your route was. Was it Italy and more, or just Italy? Why is Italy such a fashion center still for you? And tell us a little bit more about the fun that you had with the others that joined you there.
Yeah, so I was we were four girls traveling, and three of my friends, three of them are married, and they have so many plans with their husbands, and I'm like, we have to do this trip, right? I think the last time we took a trip was before COVID, and we went to Thailand, and I think we were pretty sure that the next trip that we will take, we also took a trip to Dubai after that, so we were very sure that we don't want to do something in Asia, we want to go, and we all studied together in London. So. Then we went to Italy because one of my friends really wanted to go to Sorrento, and she's like, no, it's such a nice bachelorette sort of a vibe. We should totally go there. And then we also included Rome and Florence so that we can go and shop you know so the trip was amazing. I think the girls trip is always therapeutic, because you know that this is what you want. You can just go to a party, drink, shop, do all sort of things, share clothes, get ready together. So the trip was amazing. We did shop, in Florence we went to the outlet mall, did a few one day was shopping, but the weather was not in our favor. It was raining a lot that day.
Yeah, I think you came during the rainy season. Yeah, our
Yeah,
rainy
but
season.
we were very blessed in Sorrento because Sorrento gave us a very good weather. It was sunny. We went to
Uh-huh.
Capri and other places. And I think in Sorrento, I did my sort of street shopping because they have so many small boutiques and stores where
Really?
they send a lot, where they sell a lot of quirky stuff, like
Uh-huh.
totally my sort of stuff, everything covered in lemon and bright colors. Something that you can't find anywhere else. So I
Right.
loved that in Sorrento, and otherwise, Rome was beautiful too. Loved the food over there.
Mm,
Yeah, and we didn't really shop in Rome as such. So yeah, it was just Rome, Florence, and Sorrento.
excellent. I'm so glad you had that adventure.
Yeah,
There was a lot of
much
fun
needed.
stuff.
Yeah, much
Yeah,
needed. I think every girl sh should go for a trip with her girls before she gets married.
I agree with you. And before that whole, the heaviness of the wedding planning, kicks in. And Komal, before I say goodbye to you, uh, I know our conversation's already coming to an end.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
It's so much fun.
But I wanted to ask you, when the wedding's over and it all settles down, what would you want to see happen for you in the near future? So after February, when it all settles in and settles down, what would you like to see manifest for you, career-wise, professionally, and uh, personally? What would you like to see happen for you?
Oh, wow. I think I wanna figure out. So I'm moving to a city which is a very comparatively a smaller city than a city like Bombay, right? Visakhapatnam is a coastal area. It's very different. It's South India. It's not even North India. The language spoken is Telugu, and
Yes.
yeah, so the language is different. People are different. I don't really have any friends over there, and work might change because I do a lot of physical store visits in Bombay, which might not happen in Vizag. So I'm definitely manifesting a career where I know it can grow, and it's also something which fits in my aesthetics. I want to grow
Mm,
in my business, be it influencing, be it social media strategy, consultant or anything. I'm gonna figure out my way. I'm very confident about it, but I hope it happens very smoothly and I blend into the culture of the South India and I figure out and learn new things. And otherwise, I'm sure like I'm very, very excited to start living with my fiance and I want to see what happens when we start staying together and I just want happiness for both of us.
beautiful. Komal, I'm wishing you all the very, very best. Wishing you all the luck, wishing you all the joy. And I hope our paths will meet soon.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And it was so much fun to talk to you. I'm just gonna like call you sometime just for a chat, you know?
Please do. Please
Yes,
do.
yes, thank you so much. If you have
Take care.
anything, yes. Okay, bye. Thank
Take
you so
care.
much.
Take care.
You too.